Aha! I finally landed. Good morning.
Good morning. Where's your orange?
Where's my orange? Oh my God. I've got my orange oil. Look, there we are. That's my orange contribution.
Oh, you forgot about the orange.
And I have my orange, my beautiful orange folder. So there we are. I have an orange contribution.
No, absolutely. And I took out some orange stones, which are my carnelians. And I also have orange calcite, which, just thought I'd bring them all from the healing room and put them here next to me. And put my bright orange jumper on, which is so cold, so it's perfect to wear the thick orange jumper.
I have to say, orange definitely suits you, Nirvana. It's makes you glow.
Well, we need to get into that orange chakra, right, to get it glowing. So, but before we do that, how are you doing? I haven't spoken to you since last week, Wednesday.
No, it's been a busy week, lots going on. In my personal situation, big changes, but yes, all good. Felt extremely tired though, and wasn't well. On our other circle, a few of the ladies were saying the same sort of thing. Everyone felt so tired, and I think it must be a planetary thing because, everybody was feeling it, exhaustion, aching. Yes, I think there's some huge planetary changes going on right now.
Absolutely. I exactly felt the same on Monday, just complete and utter exhausted, mentally exhausted, like I really felt like I couldn't bring anything to the table, really. So yeah, so hopefully, and I'm still feeling, that sort of low energy at the moment. But yeah, look, it is getting into winter here and hibernation, whereas you getting into the bright and springy, contrast of energies. But I think we were going to talk about the orange chakra today, right?
Yes, we're going to talk about the sacral chakra. And I feel actually, I don't know what you feel about this, but it's one of the chakras that I don't think gets talked about enough. People tend to focus on the sort of chakras from the heart above, and I think that the sacral chakra does need to have a little bit of fame. It deserves to be discussed, I think.
Absolutely. And the orange chakra, or the sacral chakra, as it sort of says, your sacral area, your sexual area, where your sexual organs are, where your pleasure center are. But it's also the creative center. So, pleasure center, creative center, creativity. When there's penetration, there's creativity. I mean, right? We create.
Yeah.
We create
life. Yeah, we create life.
Exactly. So you don't necessarily have to work in this area just through penetration, but you can also create from here, where your artistry can come from. How can you use that energy to be, in your artistry, in your creativity? So it's not necessarily just about sex and penetration and stuff like that. But that is very important. And a lot of women specifically are very closed off in their sacral area and have a lot of damage in their sacral area. Wounds, I suppose, is the correct word. Wounds, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Wounds is something that I've been working on an awful lot this last couple of weeks, actually, the sister wound. To add to to what you've just said, Nirvana, is I feel that the sacral chakra is linked to the throat chakra very, very directly. So when we want to work on the sacral chakra, we need to give it a voice. And I feel that there's so many areas of us as women, as you said, that have been repressed. We've lived in a very patriarchal society for thousands of years. Women were the intuitives, you know, of the camp, really, of that. And I think sacral comes from the word sacred. I think we were sacred water finders. We were sacred growers. We could feel the land, and then the men would come along and kind of go off and sort of fetch and carry. And I think that they kind of lost sight of the fact that the women play that an enormous part from their sacral chakra in bringing these gifts to the table. Because if you know where water is, then you can go and get some drink and you can drink it, you know. And actually, talking of water, the sacral chakra is the sacral chakra even of water.
That's correct.
So, you know, and again, that's all about flow. It's all about intuition, creativity. And of course, you know, reading tarot cards as I do, the water is the love element, the emotional element, and the nurturing element of the pack.
Absolutely. And, you know, going back to sort of the wounds and how women shut down, I think because we don't communicate, like you said, give it a voice and tell men or our partners, doesn't have to be a man, right? So tell our partners and women, the masculine man, you know, the phallic man, then there is a very little communication that the women actually bring forth about their sacral area. And with sexual child abuse survivors and things like that, you know, which I knew how long it took me to kind of heal that area, to understand that that area is not how I receive love. Because, you know, for me, that's what I thought love was all about, you know.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
it's a really big wound for us to look into, you know.
Absolutely. And of course, you know, looking at the physical side of what you're talking into is the that it's actually linked with the adrenal glands and the kidneys and the womb area. And so even through childbirth, you know, with some of the awful medical interventions that women have to go through today, and actually it's become common practice to offer women a cesarean just because it's easy. And so sometimes we're even denying our body that fantastic creative experience of a natural childbirth. So there's all sorts of complications that can happen, you know, in the sacral area, which, as I say, is never really discussed, never really talked into. And you know, even though, as you were saying about the masculine and the feminine, if we can get the divine masculine on board, the man who really understands and can speak into his own femininity, I mean, how liberating is that too for the masculine and the patriarchy, and also for society as a whole.
Yeah,
I know, and that's how I see the sisterhood circles going forward, and also the brotherhood circles going forward, as a lot of those are now popping up all over the place.
And you know, so funny enough, I was just talking to a lady yesterday, and we were talking about, you know, cesareans and how they were trying to force her, and we were talking about when a child gets born naturally and when a child gets born through a cesarean, there's a different energetic. The child that's through a cesarean is very much about, you know, everything will be done for me, I'll be helped through life. Where the child that gets born through, you know, fighting into life, you know, those are the ones that really are the strong survivors and the strong people who knows that everything in life is my responsibility, not somebody else's responsibility. And cutting into that area energetically already for the whole body, it just affects everything, you know. For the women to not experience that, as you say, and it's so many repercussions basically, you know, on what they are, again, about creating the separation between the mother and the child, right? That is as you know, there's this whole aim is to disconnect the family, to disconnect the mother and the child, the family union. And that's all here in the sacral.
Absolutely. And the word energetically, it does exactly that. You know, it disconnects the energy. It disconnects the immediate bond that a mother will have when the baby is presented to her, when the umbilical cord is still attached. All that is deprived of the woman when she has a cesarean section, because that's already done. The baby is already taken off, and it doesn't come back and get reunited with the mother until it's gone onto the scale. Yeah. And it's got cleaned up, obviously, because of it's been an operation and there are complications. So there's all sorts of energetic things that interfere with the most natural thing in the world.
Yeah.
And that is for a female to birth a child out of her womb and birth canal.
So what can we do to help heal, to help give a few tools? I particularly work with crystals. I'm interested to hear about your orange oil and what we can do around the sacral area. You know, for me, it's blocked at the moment, for sure. It's very blocked. The idea of having a partner, having an intimate partner, is something that I'm kind of going, oh, I don't know, you know, 54 years old, you know, things are sagging and things are stretch marks, and
that's all part of it, sister.
I'm absolutely, you know, and there's just a different somebody used to say the morning of your life and your evening of your life. And so, you know, we're in the evening of our lives. So procreation, the procreation energy is not as hyped when you're 18 and wear your short little skirts, whereas when you're evening in the life, doesn't mean we're not sexual beings, but the evening of our life, it's not so much about procreation, because that really is the energy around that.
Okay, so I'd love to talk into that just a minute. So the sacral chakra is all about self-identity. The word, it's swadisthana is the actual name of the sacral chakra, and the word swa or sva is all about the self. So I've kind of had in my own personal downloads, because I've been doing a lot of work on my sacral chakra in the last few months. And I feel that what you've just said about the fact that we're not into that drive of procreation, it changes our sexual energy. It changes it from being about that being the primal force to procreate and to carry on the human race. But now it's all about the self. And this is when we do step into a sexual relationship again, as we go into the twilight of our lives. And I believe that's where we both are at the moment. Which is a beautiful time of life. Actually, it's a beautiful time. It's all about us. It's all about ourselves. It's all about pleasure. It becomes about how we're going to pleasure our partner and pleasure ourselves, rather than bam, let's have another child. And so I think leaning into that energy and knowing that it is about the self, and we can meditate by using the word vam. And we can sort of imagine the chakra spinning, because the chakra is just below the belly button, about 2 finger width down, just below the navel. And we can kind of really lean into that chakra and actually speak to it and see what it has to tell us about our own sexual pleasures, about what do we need as women from that point of view. And lean into that energy, rather than think we're too old, you know, we're going to deny ourselves that, because this is the time of life when we're free. We haven't got to worry about, you know, having children or any of that stuff. You know?
Yeah, it's just finding the men, I suppose. I don't know about you, but you know, if I think men have become as well so lone warriors as well. They're not seeking, you know, the union or the sexual energy, and if it is, then it is something that is very uncommitted, or they are beautifully gay men, or you know, already taken. So it's it's, we need to call those men in, right? But you know, it's sacral men, we need to call them in. And just to reunite with the feminine, you know, to re-enter the feminine energy, because that is very, very important, just for our being here,
and re-establish those symbiotic bondings between a man and a woman. And this is nothing to, I'm not saying or denouncing anybody's sexuality, whether you're gay or whether you're bisexual or whatever. I'm absolutely, I speak to everybody, but for somebody who's a heterosexual woman, to actually be able to find that symbiotic bliss in a relationship on a mutual basis would be something that I would really, really find very sort of pleasurable and ecstatic at the twilight of my life, I have to say.
Absolutely, not just in our dreams, but have them come back into our lives. That would be awesome. And so you were saying about, what is your sacral chakra saying to you, so sort of looking, where's the blockage and what is the blockage telling you? What are your beliefs about yourself and your body? Just like I said, so, oh my God, I'm getting old and things are sagging, and so you kind of think you're not attractive anymore, or whatever those things are.
So you could talk into that, Nirvana. You could talk into that and ask it as a sort of, almost as if you're having a conversation with somebody, and say, what is it you're feeling? Okay, why are you feeling that? Lean into your body. And actually sort of as if you're in a therapy session with somebody else, but actually you're in it with your sacral chakra. It's kind of very empowering, to be able to kind of open up energetically to yourself in that way.
Excuse the pun, open up, right?
Yes.
And of course it is also then using things like your orange, your carnelian stones, your orange oils, exactly, and bringing in the orange energy so that you can start activating and using that color to start activating the sacral chakra, and use the rubbing and the clockwise, and open up by opening up if it's blocked. Those are all the little things, but most importantly, what we would like to say to people is like, well, how is it? How is your sacral chakra? And would you like to come and chat to us and let us maybe talk you through it, and maybe have a voice for your sacral chakra as a kind of a surrogate, really, just to kind of give options of what it could be that we are stuck in, or blocked in, or closed up in.
How is it in your womb space? How are you feeling in your womb when you lean into that energy in the area, in that particular area? And just another tip for people as well is actually moving hip circles to music is a wonderful way of releasing some of the blocked energy, because it's all about movement as well, because we are talking into the physical as well as the spiritual and emotional here. And so that physical movement is a wonderful way to stir the energy and just be aware of dropping the energy right down into your womb space and see how that feels for you. And by all means share that with us. If you want to try that experience, put on some quite sensual piece of music and just try moving into that, and then come back and share that with us, and anything that you may have experienced whilst doing that.
Yeah, and definitely in the red and the orange, the base chakra and the sacral chakra both are very good for those sort of pelvic movements, and getting that wakened up and alive and energy when you do it, just to focus on your sacral chakra, or even then your base chakra. It depends on what because we've gone from the base to the sacral, and like the song that comes to mind to me is the Time War doing the pelvic thrust. What is that?
Let's do the time warp.
Let's do the time warp, and I think that would be
I think mine's more that let's get it on, personally.
Oh yes. Oh gosh, that is so funny. So people can connect with us on
Yeah, at MEPS. Yeah, great. At Mepsology on Facebook, and MEPS, MEPS, on YouTube, our YouTube channel. Please kind of lean into us with any kind of comments, you know, like us, subscribe to us, hit the bell so you get the ding when we go live. Yeah, it'd be great to hear from anybody out there.
And we certainly are still trying to be successful ongoing live, and we'll try for a few minutes every week. And if not, then we'll just hop back onto old favorite Zoom, old faithful, you know, and
Yeah, absolutely.
record it. At least today, you know, we managed to get it onto Zoom. So
perfect. No, it's been lovely talking to you again, Nirvana, with our weekly catch up. Lovely to sort of speak out there to anyone that's listening. Yeah, and have a fabulous week till next week.
Absolutely. And then next week we're going to go up into the solar plexus, right?
Absolutely. Brilliant yellow. And next week I will be wearing brilliant yellow. That is
okay. Awesome. All right, Claire, it was lovely.
Namaste.
Namaste. Speak again next week. Bye.